Hey everyone, this is Half Baked Avatar, and today we're going to do another quick flight in the Fenix A320 this time. We're going from London Heathrow up to Edinburgh. I've been putting in some work in the A320 recently after Fenix has updated it for Sim Update 10, I believe. Before that, it was pretty much crashing a bowling ball into the runway for me. I couldn't get the thing to land smoothly. I know that was a problem a lot of people had. It was just a little too difficult. I don't know if it's realistic or not, but the ground effect was too much. So if you didn't cut the power and slam into the runway, you'd float all the way down the runway. I've noticed they've made it slightly easier. I don't think that I'm going to be buttering any landings by any means. I'm still pretty terrible at it, still getting used to it. But for now, I think it would be a good time to put some of the practice to work, and we'll do a quick flight. The flight that I have in mind is obviously pretty short. It's a 52-minute flight time according to SimBrief. Just a quick jaunt up the English continent, and we'll be landing in Edinburgh, which I think is a great approach. And for now, we will get into the cockpit and we will load it up. So I don't think... there's a couple things. The first thing is that usually I use the external flight tablet when I fly the Fenix. I don't think I'm going to do that just so everybody can see what I'm actually doing with stuff. It doesn't make sense to do it on an external. Your plan has an off blocks time of 3 hours and 57 minutes. That ain't right. Can I do that to, let's see, that makes it, let's do 1555 update. I think that's right. Actually, I don't know. Oh yeah, it's because I'm not on live time right now. Let's see, 200 minutes is divided by 60. That's a lot of math that I don't feel like doing. What if I just did 1250? What does that do? 46 minutes. We'll do 1310 because I can usually get this thing updated pretty quick. Nope, that's wrong. 1210. 6 minutes. Okay. Well, let's just do 1230. 25 minutes. Okay. All right, that was fun. I've never really had to mess with that before, but I usually don't fly off of regular live timing. So for mass and balance, obviously the easy thing to do is just to do it instantly. One of the most annoying things that I find about the Fenix is how long the IRS takes to align. It's very frustrating to sit around and wait for as long as I have to wait with it. So we will just get that started right off the bat and we won't have to worry about it. I think it takes like 8 minutes or something, and I can usually get the entire plane ready to go from cold and dark to flight ready in less than 10 minutes. So most of it is honestly just sitting around waiting for this IRS to align. Okay, let's bring in our flight plan. I guess we can look at it on the tablet. That would be kind of fun. I still think this tablet's amazing. It does still kind of lag. I've not really, even during flight, when I'm getting 60 frames, this still kind of chops a little bit. I think that's just the nature of the beast. But, you know, this is a high bar for PMDG to live up to because obviously they've been sitting around waiting to release theirs for 7 or 8 months now. And if it doesn't look like this, we're going to have issues. But enough of that. So we are British Airways Flight 118 at flight level 320 and a cost index of 5. Oops, that's the wrong button. There it is. So British Airways 118, cost index of 5, flying 320. Okay, got it. And our block fuel, I'm just going to look on my sheet here, is 5.3. And let's see. Go here, go to our mass and balance, and we'll spit out these two numbers. So our zero fuel weight is 60. We'll do 60.5 and 31.2. 60.5, 31.2. That should be good. Next is the flight plan. We'll do our departure for now. We'll do the arrival once we get in the air. We're taking off of 9 right to Old Tib 1J. There it is. No transitions. So we've got a intercept off of, so an intercept is I'm pretty sure that's the vector form of an Airbus. That's just what they call it. So we'll do, see the IRS align in 7 minutes, and we're already on to setting up our flight profile or performance takeoff here. Is that actually the, hold on, sometimes this isn't right. Yep, that is the right takeoff, or the right barometric pressure. Jeez. So we're doing 9 right, surface is dry, sync the load sheet, sync the weather, calculate. I guess we can look at the intersection data and we can pick one we want to take off of. We'll come down here to the charts for this. So 9 right. I wonder if we could do D so we don't have to do a long taxi. Is that something we could do? Does not label this the same way. N7, it does. Or we could do, here we go, N8. Where's that at? N8. There we go. So N8 is here instead of here. This is for, it gives you an extra couple 100 feet or whatever for like a 747s, but if you're not that, you can just take off here, which is what we will do. So we're 150, 150, 153. Whoops. This still gives us plenty of room. Transition altitude 6,000s, and let's see, I've never had this before, 300 to DNO 0.3 and 68. 300 to down 0.3, whoops. What did I say, 68 for the flex stat? Engine out, we can do, it's 1080 each. 1075 is close enough. I don't really like messing with it. So yeah, this 2-shift, we're gonna find out what that is because I've never had that before. What did I say? We're cruising at 32,000s. There we go. And I've had a lot of trouble with the click spot on the flap or on the trim here. Sometimes I can get it to click and I can do it, otherwise I have to bind it. Binding it kind of sucks. It's not really something I like to do because I feel like I mess with it too much, especially when it auto trims for me. So oh well. All right, while we're waiting for that to happen, we've got our performance loaded. We can go ahead and let's see here. We'll disconnect the jetway, close the door, it already is. Come up top, that's all on. We'll turn on our pumps. Make sure the cruise supply is on so we don't run out of air. Turn on the beacon, and we will get the APU going. So I haven't really messed with the IRS alignment, but I do not want to start moving before it's completely aligned because I feel like that'll screw it up. So we will just wait for it to do its thing. Looking pretty good. My frames are okay here. They're kind of what I'd expect at a major airport. I don't have like a crazy setup. I think I have 64 gigs of RAM in a 2080. So it's pretty average for what you need for a flight sim. As we can hear the APU spooling up here. So we should be good. As far as default airports go, I think this is one of the better ones. I can't remember if this comes with the upgrade. I know I don't have the Premium Deluxe, I have the Deluxe Edition. So I didn't get like the 787 and some American airports, but I think I got this one. And looking back, I'm really mad that I didn't get those upgrades. I thought spending an extra $20 is stupid, but now the only way to upgrade is to spend another $90. So if you're looking at buying the game and you're thinking between the regular and doing any upgrades, just buy all the upgrades, because upgrading the game takes more money than it should. I think it's ridiculous that I can't just buy a $20 upgrade. I have to spend a ton of money on basically buying the game again. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Alright, one more minute on the IRS. Let's close that door. Let's go up top here. And let's turn on the APU bleed, turn off the external power. And we can get rid of the GPU, the chocks and cones. We'll go back to our performance just so we can reference it. APU or IRS is almost aligned, so we'll get the pushback going. And let's see, it's cool, my Navigraph isn't working with my it's not letting me know where I am, so we're gonna do this the old-fashioned way. Alright, there's the IRS aligned. We'll request pushback. Here comes our friend. So I do believe we just need to go. I think we're over here, so we just need to go down to M8. Just follow the signs. Should be easy enough. If real pilots can do it in real life, I can do it in a simulator. One would hope, at least.
Okay, sir. The bypass fan is installed. All doors and hatches closed, and all ground equipment is removed. The parking brakes are set. You may lift. Parking brake set. Lifting the aircraft.
Okay, lifting the aircraft. One of the things I do enjoy about the A320, though, is that once you get it going, once you've got everything pre-planned and put in, it does kind of just fly itself. It is pretty nice. It just depends what you're in the mood for. If you're doing like some laid-back flying, I prefer the Airbus, but if I want to do anything that takes any kind of brain power to work, I guess is what I would call it, I would fly a Boeing, just because it's a little more hands-on, a little more involved from the pilot perspective. So plus starting the engines is really nice on Airbus. You just hit a button once and you don't have to worry about introducing fuel or doing anything like that. Let's make sure our throttle's at the right spot, because I get in trouble for that. There's 18.3, it's available. Let's do engine 2, engine 1, I guess.
Startup is complete. You may disconnect.
this now. Have a good flight. Thanks, sir. Okay. Engines are available. We can go up top here. We can shut down the APU now. We can turn on our taxi lights. Everything's good to go up there. We'll turn auto brake to max for taxi, arm the spoilers, and do 2 levels of flaps for takeoff. There's the trim. So I guess it doesn't become available until you've powered up the hydraulics, which makes complete sense to me. Ground spoilers armed. Alright, let's get the parking brake off. And let's test takeoff config. Good to go. And let's start the taxi. One thing they have not fixed, and I don't know if this is an actual issue or if this is how the Airbus is in real life, is the over-rotating of the front wheel. If you slam the your rudder pedals or whatever you're using to control the tiller too far in one direction, the wheel will turn back in on itself, which is probably a real-life thing to help turn the aircraft. But it's really annoying in this game because it doesn't turn itself back. So if you're trying to make a hard turn and you turn too much, all of a sudden your plane will just keep spinning. Which I think is kind of frustrating, but oh well. Seems to be just me. Pretty quick taxi here over to 9 right. Should be nice, easy takeoff. We're looking for this entrance here, I believe, is N8. This would be N7, which you're not taking off from. You're taking off back here. Which is more or less full length minus the extras. I'm pretty excited for the A380 that's supposed to come out soon by Fly-by-Wire, the people that made basically the plane. It's kind of funny that this game launched and everyone knew it was going to be kind of rough at launch, is how flight simulators go. But it was pretty rough. Basically the only high fidelity planes were the Cessna 152 and I'm pretty sure that might be it. Like planes that are fully modeled right out of the gun. That was kind of one of the only ones. The default A320 is basically just a shell of what it should be. So Fly-by-Wire came in pretty quick after the game launched and released their version of the A320NX. And that kind of kept the game alive for the first 5-6 months of it, before the GA aircraft started to drop, before the third-party developers really got their teeth into the game. It was pretty wild to hop on Microsoft Flight Simulator or go to Twitch and everyone's flying the A320NX because that was the only thing to fly. And it's, you know, obviously we've been spoiled recently with PMDG and Fenix and all the third-party aircraft, and there's so much more coming. There's going to be, you know, the A310 that came out, the INI A310 that was free. That's probably one of the better. I know it's got frame issues they're sorting out as far as compatibility goes with Xbox, but you know, that game kind of, or those planes were pretty late to the show, and until those came out, it's been all Fly-by-Wire A320. So it's kind of nice to see they're still doing stuff. I know that there are still people that actually prefer the Fly-by-Wire to the Fenix as far as the frames go and flight modeling goes. It's just kind of a matter of preference. I think the Fenix is too good of a plane to not fly. I did fly a little bit too much of the fly-by-wire when it came out, back when I was still learning, but we will save that conversation until after takeoff. We'll do a rolling start here. We'll get our clock going. I'll look down so that I can make sure I actually get into the flex position. There we go. And take off. On the center line, not much wind today. Nice and easy here. And V1 rotates. Nice smooth rotation. Blown around a little bit there. Positive right, gear up. And we will follow the flight director out of London. Yeah, like I was saying, the A320NX, the fly-by-wire team is also, they've been teasing it for, I don't know, well over a year now, that they're working on a, shockingly, a freeware A380. That should come out in the next couple months. There was a leaked Discord, I don't know if it was leaked, I think they posted it, but there was a Discord stream they did to show off some of the, some flight, some of the systems, and it looks amazing. It's hard to believe that they're going to give us a plane that high quality for free. I'm still shocked that they're going to do that for us. I don't really understand why they wouldn't charge anything. I mean, the long haul aircraft in this game, they're in prime position to take advantage of the fact that there is only one long haul aircraft, and that is the A310 that I just dropped. And that's kind of an older aircraft. It's really fun to fly, but it's not by any means a modern fidelity aircraft like this. Oh, I forgot to uncage that. So it's kind of crazy that they would come out and drop a high fidelity A380 long haul aircraft that, if it can do what they say is going to do, is probably going to be the long haul aircraft until PMDG drops their 777, and they're going to do it for free. I don't understand that. I'd venture the guess that if it's as good as the fly-by-wire A320 was out the gate, you could get away with charging $50 for something like that. Because right now, like I said, your options for flying cross country or, international is the A310, or the A310, or you load up a 737-800 and pretend that it's a 737 MAX or something. There's not really any realistic options for international cross-ocean flights right now. Beautiful out of London here. Looking good. There's our first altitude restriction. We can follow the chart out of London here. Let's see, we're coming up on, let's switch over to standard real quick before I do that. We're coming up on ULTIB, and ULTIB has a 6,000 foot restriction all the way out. So we're going to be kind of flying low for just a little bit here. Yes, I understand. I wish these tips would go away. I can't get them to stop. Forgot to put that to normal. That's fun. That's the one thing I always forget, is to flip this. I used to have a TCA throttle quadrant here, but the right one broke. It never really worked, and I went round and round with Thrustmaster for about 2 months on their customer service to get it replaced. The detents wouldn't work. Like, you would pull it back and it would just keep going. Like, the left one would click just fine into the idle detent, but the right one would keep going, and eventually it got to the point where no matter where I had the right throttle, it would say it was stuck in reverse on every single plane. It didn't matter what plane. I put it in a GA aircraft and bound this to the throttle, and it said it was full back. So there was a wiring issue or something. There was a mechanic issue with the detent and then a wiring issue. So eventually I just gave up. They told me that there was nothing they could do because I bought it from Best Buy instead of through them. They just told me to basically they don't care, and I had to just trash it. It was unusable. I really do want another one when the A380 comes out. I think it's going to be pretty imperative to have a A320 quadrant, even if it's the A380. It uses the same detents. Just because right now I'm using the Thrustmaster, it's like a HOTAS for jets, so there's no detents in it, and it makes it pretty difficult. That's why you see me looking down whenever I am moving the throttle around, because I don't actually know where the detents are. It doesn't click like the Thrustmaster one does. I kind of miss it. I think I need to buy a new one, but obviously I'm going to wait until after the holidays. So we're through 2,000. Oh my gosh. So we're through 10,000 feet. We can turn off the landing lights. We've got all our lights going. Pressurization looks good. Cockpit and airframe seem to be clean. Our top of descent is coming up in 84 miles. Like I said, this is going to be a quick up and down flight. So while we're waiting on top of descent, let's come back into the flight plan. Let's do our arrival. So we are we're going to be landing on ILS runway 6 through the INPIPI. There it is, INPIPI arrival. No transitions. Let's see how this looks here. Too steep path. 200 to 161. That doesn't seem like it's very steep. It seems like it's just fine. Is that how the flight looks on this? Yeah, INPIP NREV. Let's go. Yeah, so this is kind of funny that it says too steep. This is literally by the chart. Like I haven't. This is in the flight plan for the chart. So we'll just leave it as is. It'll sort itself out. Oh, we're getting some turbulence here over the northern part of England here. It is kind of nice flying around in Europe because everything is so close compared to America. In America, if I want to fly to, even a different part of Texas, if I fly out of DFW down to San Antonio, it's like an hour flight. It's the same distance from Dallas to Houston as it is from London to Edinburgh. And it just seems weird because, you fly around in Europe, you fly for 2 hours, you're in a completely different world with a different culture, and you fly around for 2 hours in America and you might still be in the same state. It's pretty wild. So we're approaching top of climb here, I don't know, in about 5-10 minutes. Until then, I'm going to do some more time-lapse stuff that worked pretty well last time. So I will probably do that until top of descent, until we start preparing to land down into Edinburgh. Whoa, what is this overspeed we've just hit? Hello. What was that? Wild. We must have changed biomes. Let's turn off the seatbelts. Yep, like I was saying, I'll do some time-lapse stuff, and I will catch you guys on the top of descent page while we set it up. Okay, so we are coming up on our top of descent here in about 45 miles. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and we're going to enter our destination data. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull up our METARs here, and we're going to go to EGPH. There we go. So we're looking at 991 hectopascals, 5 degrees, 8 knots, 60. So 0991 for here. It is 5 degrees. And 060 at 8 for the wind. Speed error at Tartan. We'll figure that out in a second. As far as our approach goes, we are going to be landing on ILS 6. So we'll come in here. I still think this is just the coolest thing that we can do this. Get out here. So we could probably transfer to TLA here. And that will give us, let's see, so we're at 210 for our decision height. It said something about Tartan having an issue. Really see what that would be. So we will ignore it. We need to get down to 4,000 feet. One of these days I'll learn how to do VADSIM so I don't have to do this without ATC. It gets kind of boring sometimes, but I don't know. It's easier to make videos this way. I don't have to worry about constantly talking to somebody. Let's see your performance here. So we're at 1256 for our descent, and we're at 1252 right now. So we should be descending here in about 3.5 minutes. So I will catch you then. All right, we are 2 miles out from our top of descent here. We're going to go ahead and hit the managed altitude mode here. I like to do it about 1 mile out. It'll kind of keep us on the ball. Quite literally, this little green ball here is your descent profile. It kind of just manages, it says, okay, when we're descending, this is where you should be going. So you want this little green ball to be between these two lines or lined up with this yellow line here, and that'll kind of keep you on the descent path. So if you notice that gosh man, I keep doing that today. So if you notice that this green ball is way down here, that means you've overshot your top of descent and you're going to have to do some serious speed brake dives to get down caught up to it. If you notice it's way up here, that means that you've descended too early and you might need to level out and wait for the ball to come back down into range before you can keep descending. So that's an easy way to read your descent. There's a similar thing on a Boeing plane. And if you fly the CRJ, it's a little snowflake on the vertical speed indicator as well. So that's easy enough. As we come down into Edinburgh, let's go and do our descent or landing performance. So we are landing on runway 6. As far as I know, it's dry. We'll refresh that, apply it. And our landing weight, the way that you get the landing weight is actually pretty complicated. You take your zero fuel weight and your predicted estimated fuel on board at landing. So our zero fuel weight is 60.5, and then you just add 2.9. That gives us 63.4 for our gross landing weight. So pretty easy to do. It just takes a little bit of math. So we'll do max reverse, auto throttle off. We'll probably have to do a medium brake here so we don't run off the runway. The runway here is only about 2,560 meters, so we don't have a ton of space to go flying off of the runway at the end of it. But as we start our descent, I'll put the seatbelt sign back on. Let's see, so it's taking us down to 260 first. We can look at the star here again, and we can kind of see. So right now we're coming up on INPIP, which is at 260, and then we'll need to be down to 200, which is what it said could be an issue. But we might just have to get out the speed brakes to get down to 2,000 or 20,000 feet. And after that, our next restriction is Tartan, which is at 7,000 feet. So we need to drop 13,000 feet in about 35 miles. And I think we can do that. I don't know why it would have us on this approach, according to the plan, if you couldn't make it. So I assume we might just need to get some speed brakes out, but we should be good to go. Whoa, what the heck? I think we just loaded into another chunk. That's the only thing about Microsoft Flight Simulator and live weather that just really sucks, is as you fly through the predefined zones where it updates weather, it'll sometimes just send you flying off of the descent path. It's usually during descent that I run into it. Sometimes it's during cruise, where you'll be sitting there, you know, on your phone or watching a video, and all of a sudden out of the corner of your eye, you'll see your plane do a 30-degree bank and then skyrocket back to where it was. It's kind of concerning to watch, but we've made it. No stress on the airframe that we can't continue flying with. So let's go back to our performance, and our distance to touchdown here is 70 miles still. So I will do another time lapse, and I'll bring you back in when we get to transition altitude. So we're back in the cockpit going through InRev, and as you can see, we are way behind the descent here by our green indicator. Ball is way off course, so we're going to deploy some drag, get some of the get the speed brakes out, drop some altitude. You can see that green ball is starting to come back up into the zone we need it to be in. Usually you can get it back pretty quick. Like I said, we need to be at 7,000 feet by Tartan, which is going to be our goal. So yep, there we go, back on the descent profile. Pretty easy to do that. You just need to watch. It'll tell you on your little FMS here, I don't know if you saw that at the beginning of the clip, it'll say drag required or more drag required. So all you got to do, pop out the speed brakes for a little bit, wait for that green ball to come back into your zone, and then pop them back off. You don't want to leave them on because you'll overstress the engines trying to speed back up. You can leave them on for too long and lose too much altitude. So I think our transition altitude was 6,000 feet, if I remember correctly. Yep, 6,000 feet. So right after Tartan, we'll hit our transition point. Yep, so there's the issue with this descent. So I'm going to pull out our speed brakes to half. That should keep us on the profile. Once you're on the profile, sometimes it's not guaranteed you'll stay on the profile. You might have to manage your speed brake kind of like a throttle. Make sure that you don't dip too far below it. So we'll just keep an eye on the green dot and make sure that we're not flying too far off of it. Once we get below 10,000 feet, we'll pop on our lights here. pretty low here into this Scottish countryside. I actually flew this flight a couple years ago. On my only trip to Europe, I went to Scotland, and I flew from DFW to Heathrow, and then from Heathrow to Edinburgh. And I do want to go back. That is one of those things where once you go, you're like, man, I wish I could just fly over here easy. I wish it wasn't 14 hours of flying away, because I would do it in a heartbeat. Alright, there's 10,000 feet. We'll pop on our landing lights and probably our runway turn-off lights just to have them on. One of the nice things about the Airbus compared to a Boeing is that it sets your... let's see, if we go to the RadNav page here, it actually sets your ILS, your frequency, and your slope and your course for you. As soon as you punch the airport and runway in, it pulls all that information out of its data banks, just puts it right in there for you. You don't have to worry about it, which is pretty nice. It does kind of scare me sometimes if I'm coming into approach and I'm always like, oh my gosh, did I forget to punch in my ILS coordinates? But nope, it does it for you. You just got to make sure that you hit the LS, the localizer glide slope page. That's the other thing that's different between Boeing and Airbus, is you got to pop that on so that you can actually see your localizer and your ILS frequency stuff. I think it's pretty weird that it does everything else automatically, but that's one of the things it doesn't do. It also doesn't start your top of descent for you. And then Boeing, you just, once you get up to cruising altitude, you can scroll this down to your landing altitude and not touch it again, and it'll just fly you down automatically at top of descent. But you actually have to punch it on Airbus, and you have to punch up your localizer display on an Airbus. So everything's automatic until it isn't, and then you got to remember which stuff isn't, because there have been many times where I've been approaching to land and I'm like, where is my localizer? How come I can't see this? And then I remember last second I actually have to hit a button to display it. As we start the turn from Tartan into our descent here, let's roll that back just a little bit. I guess I could have the constraints on. So as you can see, I had the speed brake out for just a little too long, so we lost a lot of speed there. Our engines are spooling up to try and get it back, but at the same time, we are trying to descend. And when you're descending and you're below speed, it's actually easier because you can just cut the engines and glide down to your descent profile without increasing your speed too much. Let's see if we can actually see the airport. This is 15 miles over that way. Yep, you can kind of see it. It's like on the edge of a bay here. This is kind of where it's at. Alright, so like we said, we're going to do medium auto brake, flaps full. I believe that's already selected. We've got full flaps. Yep. So we'll punch in the medium auto brake. I don't think we'll need the spoilers anymore, so I'll go ahead and arm those, so we have them ready to go. Sometimes I forget to arm those, and it'll be kind of fun on touchdown to not have your speed brakes. Our landing lights are on. Waiting on this final turn here. And our approach speed is 138, so we'll actually bug up 210 here, just so the engines aren't overstressing trying to catch back up to a speed that we don't really need to be at. 210's good. We can actually do flap 1 at 210. I guess that's slats. So this took me forever to figure out, just because I'm dumb, but the slats on the leading edge of the wing come out before the flaps on the trailing edge on Airbus. You can actually see that right here. So there's 4 settings for flaps slats here. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4 on your flaps. but you only get 3 slat settings. So once you go to 3, I believe your flaps go to 3 and your slats are at 3, but when you go to 4, your flaps will extend 1 more tick, but your slats will not move. It's kind of interesting. All right, we're below our transition altitude. I missed that one. We're QNH 991. Very low pressure in England today. Kind of shocking. I think it might be the storms that are going to roll through. Really drop the pressure down. Or it might just be all the people watching soccer causing a commotion in the weather. I know the World Cup's going and England spanked, I think it was, I don't even know how they play. They won like 7-1 or something. I don't watch soccer like at all. And I know a lot of America doesn't really watch soccer. I might watch the first round game just because I don't think I've ever watched a World Cup game and might as well watch it, but too busy watching football yesterday. American football, the good football. Not the good football, but the different football. I do appreciate soccer, though. I know there's going to be people in the comments telling me to shut up and call it football, but in America, it's called soccer, and we do enjoy soccer. I like going to games because it's a lot quicker than a football game or a baseball game, especially as you go to a football game, go to a baseball game, you're kind of sitting there for 3 hours. But if you go to a soccer game, you're in and out in about 2. So it's a lot more manageable with your day to go to a soccer game. Okay, so 138 is what we're looking for our final touchdown speed. We're still 12 miles out, so we're not too worried about slowing down. So we punched up our next set of slats, and our flaps are extending now. There they go. Let's go ahead and activate approach mode. So as you can see, we're a little above the glide slope here. That's why I activated approach mode early. Because we turned in instead of coming straight on, we kind of cut the path a little bit. And in doing so, we were above profile for the glide slope. So we're going to activate approach mode. Hopefully it centers us and then drops us down a little bit. We'll get flaps 3 out. We get down to 150 here. So as you can see, it's caught the localizer. So that's going to line us up. I really need it to start dropping our altitude here. Come on. Come on, buddy. You can do it. Sometimes if you've got the top of descent bugged instead of the runway bugged, it won't activate your approach mode in time, which is frustrating. It's exactly what it's doing right here. It's not really dropping us, so we'll do 138, we'll bug that. We'll drop that, we'll disengage the auto throttle and the autopilot, pull way back here because we need to drop some serious altitude coming into this approach. You can see the runway up there. Turn off the flight director, we don't need that. So this is the only thing about the Airbus that I don't understand sometimes, is that sometimes things just don't really work. And that just might be me not being familiar enough with the systems, but like you can see, we were at 4,000 feet, which is the top of the glide slope. I engaged the approach mode, and we didn't start descending. We didn't catch the glide slope. Even though we weren't very far above it, it should have popped us down onto the glide slope, but it didn't do that. So we will just have to do this the old-fashioned way, which isn't too hard in Airbus. thing basically flies itself. You just need to get full flaps here. Nice easy approach. A little off because of the winds. There's the green dot, that's our descent profile. It should line up pretty much perfectly with the ILS profile, the glide slope at least. So as we start getting near that, we'll even out, get us some throttle up so we don't lose our airspeed. 1,000 feet. We're descending a little too fast. You can see the ILS profile. The glide slope says we're a little low. We are pretty low. We'll throttle up here. Maybe not that much. The wind is shifting to be more head-on, so we can kind of... Ooh, there's some frames. We can kind of iron out our approach here to not be so tilted. We don't have to crab as much. Let's just make sure our speed's managed. It is. Still descending a little quick.
500.
500, continue. A little fast. Take our eyes off of the MFD and we can go to start looking at the runway itself. Wind is pretty much straight on, which is awesome. Don't have to worry about crabbing this in. I've had to do a lot of that lately. Still low, but that's fine. We don't have a ton of runway to work with.
Light slow.
Shush.
Minimum terrain.
20. Retard.
Ooh, we bounced. There it is. Come on. Yep, I knew that was going to happen. Came in just a little too quick. It's fine. Let's do that. Let's get our flaps up. So, not too bad, honestly. We've had worse. Disarm our spoilers. Usually that works. Is it going to work this time? No, they're glitched. Alright, so we'll get the APU going here. We'll turn on our taxi lights. Start the APU. There we go. Nice and easy. Where do we want to park here? I guess we go right to the terminal. Ran out of speed. My bad. Well, so there our speed brakes go. I think I glitched my brakes. Sometimes if I hold my toe brakes down and click right mouse button to look around, it'll lock all my controls. And I think that's what just happened. That's why we stopped. Let's go to this first gate. Okay, car. Don't worry, just cut off the 60-ton plane in front of you and then stop. Brother. What is he doing? Line up. Get some brakes going. There we go. More or less center. Parking brake on. Is our APU available? Available it is. We'll turn on the bleed for that. Turn off taxi lights. Turn off the engines. Come over here. And we'll deboard, connect the GPU, connect the chocks, open the door, get the jetway. There's everything we need. Oh, hello. Hello? There we go. That was interesting. Okay. We no longer need our APU. Connect up to external power. Turn that off. Turn off all of our lights. Disengage that. And there we have it. A descent into Edinburgh. It wasn't the best descent. The descent was fine. The landing, like I said, is still pretty rough. I was so worried about not slamming it into the runway that I bounced it and had to rely on my brakes to keep me from going off the end of the runway. But that's why we practice, people. So if you guys enjoyed the flight, a nice and quick video from London to Edinburgh, please leave a like and subscribe. I'm trying to get these videos out more regularly, but my job is just kicked up, so it's starting to keep me from doing only about one a week. But I will try and get these uploaded more often. If you guys have a specific route you want me to fly with a specific plane, don't hesitate to leave a comment and I'll pick one of those for the next video and I'll do that. So until next time, thanks guys.